This is episode 85 of Changing the Face of Yoga. And I'm talking to Kremena, and we're going to be talking about creativity, yoga in the workplace. Let's listen. Hello, and welcome to Change the Face of Yoga, teaching toddlers through golden oldies. I'm very excited to be talking to lots of yoga teachers who will explain their passion for teaching yoga to students with different ages, physical fitness levels, wellness levels, and different goals. They will explain the benefits of yoga for these students and will be including teacher tips and pose modifications. I am Stephanie Cunningham of Yoga Lightness, and I've been teaching over 50s for 10 years. So this area is my passion and the passion of many other yoga teachers that you will be listening to in this series. Thank you so much for listening, and let's get started. This is Changing the Face of Yoga, and my great guest today is Kremena Yoranova. I'm very proud of myself that I said that. Okay. Welcome, Kremena. And I want to have everyone understand what you're doing in yoga. You're the founder and owner of Your Yoga. She's a self-taught entrepreneur with a touch of creativity who found a way to combine her passion for yoga with a corporate career. Now she teaches others how to achieve balance and self-awareness by incorporating yoga practice in their lives. She was born and raised in a small Bulgarian town, and she didn't start practicing yoga until she moved to the Netherlands in 2006 at the age of 23. As she started her career at Reebok, Kremena continued her daily practice in the office gym and immediately caught the attention of her colleagues. She was given the opportunity to teach yoga to employees in 2008, and she's been doing so ever since. She became a certified yoga instructor in 2012. The same year she met Tara Stiles, founder of Strala Yoga, and in 2013 she took the Strala teacher training in San Francisco. Her flair for teaching and organizing weekly yoga classes, special workshops, and events were what motivated her to contact more yoga professionals to join her mission of sharing yoga with the working professionals. And I think that's a really interesting thing to start about. Now, you say that you are located in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, but that you have a worldwide mission, shall we say, to provide yoga. So can you explain how those two things work together for me?
Yeah, so basically, currently I'm based in Amsterdam, but the mission and vision that I had for myself is to travel the world and share what I know. My job allows me to actually combine both. And when we travel and when I meet with like-minded people that can share the same concepts that yoga is for everyone, we just get together, do retreats or workshops and special events where we can touch more people. I know that yoga changed my life, and I'm literally all about sharing as much as I know and being completely aware that there is still so much more to learn.
It is very complex. Yes. So, okay, let me see if I understand that. So you're interacting with other yoga professionals around the world. And when you come together in events, you're kind of sharing your knowledge in that way, or do you have teachers that you work specifically with?
So the way I see it and the way we do it is that if I admire someone for what they do in terms of the yoga community and what they share, something that is genuine, something that I feel that person is being authentic to who they really are, we reach out. And I have many friends in different areas, and not just in Europe, but what started as small casual classes in the office right now expands to weekly retreats in different continents, and making sure that when we travel for work, we get together, either be in New York or any other areas that we visit, we can get together and practice yoga. And just be invited as a guest teacher is one of my favorite things to do, because if you ask me to do yoga, most likely I'll say yes. So that's how it started. And to be able to really showcase that you don't have to choose to do only teaching, and you don't also have to be super strict with your yoga, like with your career. You don't have to kind of say one or the other. You can do both, is what excites me. And my mission really is to just say to people, if you find your passion, stick to it. And if you also have a daily job, you can still do it, in a sense of, often I get asked, but how can you combine both? And it comes to prioritization, what is important to you and who you really are as a person, and how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Mhm.
So quitting a job is something that many people do, and I admire people that can do that. But on the other hand, you don't have to do it in order to become a good teacher. You just need to speak your truth, and there will be someone that wants to know what you have to say. That really is how it started and how it is right now as well, more
Okay.
than a decade.
Oh, I'm impressed that you have a daily job and you have this, because it really looks like an immense undertaking. You have, events and retreats and classes and just just the administration of that is I would think
Yeah, but
quite.
there's the thing about it is, like, when I started, it was just 2 yoga classes a week, and I was begging my colleagues to join me because I wanted to practice. And now it turns out, oh, we actually don't have a space for all the colleagues that would like to join our courses or weekly classes. And to be honest, I haven't changed my job, in a sense. Yes, I do change positions within the same organization, but I've been with the brand for more than 12 years now. And to have something steady that allows you to be yourself and learn how to be a better leader, without quitting your passion for yoga, is something that I don't take lightly. And I do realize that maybe it's a privileged situation that I'm into, but there is always a way to combine if you so want to. And there is always a way to choose if one thing is not serving you anymore. For me, at the point of my life, both complement each other. I cannot imagine being just a yoga teacher, same as I cannot imagine just being executive or just doing a job per se. They fulfill me both, in a sense that they work quite well together. They've always have. It's never been a choice either or.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to say that people always have the choice to do one or the other, but they can also have the choice to do both, or maybe even three things. I don't know.
How do you organize yourself? I mean, I'm just kind of fascinated about doing both of these things.
I'm, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's not like super simple, and it's like, yeah, you can do it all. And I'm not promoting being absolutely exhausted and super busy in your head. But an example for today, the day starts at, let's say, 6:30 to 7 o'clock, and then I will go to the office before hopefully 9 after I've done my practice. Today there was a delay, and I was 9:30 in the office, and till 6 I was not able to go earlier to the studio. I teach one class at 7:15, rush back home for this interview because I know that it takes an hour from the studio to my place. But if you schedule it, and if it's important to you, it gets priority, and you can do it.
Okay.
As long as you also allow yourself to have at least one day to rest, and know that you need to nourish first yourself in order to be able to give to others, because it's demanding to be constantly teaching like I used to do. I used to have 8 classes a week, and then I realized, well, it's not serving me to be. It was mostly coming from a place to become better and better. And when you have a sense of, okay, I can actually reduce my classes to something that fulfills me too, some classes just dropped, and then you still feel like you're giving enough attention to your students without having 8 classes a week, so you don't overwhelm yourself next to the full-time job, which I still kept. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's important, though. I think you've made an important point that self-care, and because it's very hard, I think, to keep giving without getting in some ways. I think it's difficult. So I admire you knowing that and taking steps to fulfill that. I was really interested in what you said about how yoga helps creativity in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered if you could kind of explore that a little bit with me, because I had never thought of those two things, creativity in the workplace and yoga being helpful to each other.
So the way I see it is that when I go on the yoga mat and I try a new pose and I'm not afraid to fail, I can allow myself to really try new things. this way or another way, or approach poses that I've never done before in so many other ways that brings this creativity not only on the mat, but when you go to a meeting where everyone expects you to have ideas, you can approach it from so many angles that is the same as practicing yoga, is the same as being aware that maybe possibly you're not the only person with a good idea in the room. And that brings more creativity on the table as a whole, because if yoga teaches us anything is that we are all in this together, that togetherness that comes from there is not just one person that can have a good idea. And I honestly think that that creates a lot of opportunities that we normally wouldn't even take as an opportunity. So when I ask students to try a crow pose and they think it's super difficult just because they've never done it, you ask them 3 times, try it without being attached to the outcome of it. So if you fall, you won't fall far. You can try again and you can try again. And if it's not the side crow that you would like to be trying, try another one, try a variation of it, try just lifting one toe, then don't lift any toes, that's fine, and stick to it till something changes. And being consistent with trying is where creativity comes. And not all ideas will be great, but then at least you don't stop the flow of ideas. And that's what I find very useful from bringing things from the mat and outside, and really trying to explain to people that I always give my opinion last where possible. So it never comes that, oh, I have this great idea and let's just go for that idea only. And I think many leaders and many managers to that matter stick to the fear of I should know the answers. And actually, when you're vulnerable and you say, hey, we all can have answers for a specific situation, then you generate way more creativity and you generate way more ideas that you would normally not have access to.
So, would you say that this way that you're attending meetings is a direct result of what you've learned in yoga? That
Absolutely. I cannot even, and I didn't realize it till very late, maybe in the game. I know they asked me from my work to make this video where I explain my story, where I have to explain how yoga changed my life, really. And to be honest, it was a big transformation from coming with this attitude that I can do it all by myself. I can be so strong. My nickname was the Kremenator, and many people love to take that idea that being hard and being always right and being always in the ego space is how you can succeed. And I was pretty much hungry for success when I started. And when I started practicing yoga, it did change me, even if I was initially resistant to that idea. Right now, if you compare me with the 10 years ago self, is a very different person. Some people don't even recognize the same person that is now. And I never anticipated yoga to become such a big part of my life. But when you sense that something is so beneficial for you, you know you can share it with others and make it really more accessible by not calling it so, not mystifying it, but actually speaking from true experience. I used to think that my ideas are the best, or, oh, let's go ahead and just do this because I came up with it first. And then you miss out on so many other opportunities to make even better things together.
Okay, excellent. Do you feel that your students that you're teaching in your corporate environment, do they feel that also this creativity bubbling up, shall we say?
Yeah, well, what I'm proud of, and what we really what I really like when some of my colleagues and immediate team members are saying, you do realize we're the most spiritual ones, in a sense that when I speak about spirituality with them is basically allowing a space for us to try to fail. And I think that comes immediately from the yoga, like from the fact that maybe the first 1,500 times you tried chaturanga, they did not look the same way they do look now. And that comes by simply trying and allowing yourself to fail. And if you don't fail, celebrate the little successes you have on the mat and off the mat. And creating this space where people can have ideas that are outside of the box and outside of the mat. Often when I teach my practice, yes, we do use the mats, but we also use it as example of you can step outside of those boxes and those boundaries that we create ourselves, and those ideas that we should always do the things the same way. No, you can add up a little bit creativity, not just on the mat, but in everything you do. As I mentioned, it's how you do one thing is how you do most of the things in your life. And the yoga mat is just a mirror of how your life is. And if you stick to a practice that is authentic to you and it's not harmful and it's coming from a place that you're really true to yourself and you're not hurting yourself, a lot of changes come, even if you don't want them to.
Yeah, I agree. I was rather taken with your statement that you are not the same person that you were 10 years ago. That happened to me too. I'm sure people who knew me a while back would be very shocked at how I am now because I'm doing, yeah, it does change you. I certainly agree with that. When you do your classes, are you kind of aware, or I know that who shows up, but do you have a lot of difference in your students? I mean, ages and abilities and possibly weight or something?
To be honest, we like to think that yoga is for everyone, and I would love to see more guys coming to my classes. And
Yes.
one mission of mine is just to have that idea that if you can breathe, you can do yoga, and if you are open-minded enough to just try new things, you can do yoga. And the way the classes in the studios I teach here is they're predominantly, let's say, age group of 25 to 40, which is something that I would love to be able to change somehow. The way it works in the office is primarily my colleagues are the same exact age group. Young professionals is what the main students of mine are, but that doesn't mean that when teaching, let's say, as volunteering, I had the chance to go to Africa on 2 occasions to be teaching kids from 3 to 18, and that's a completely different set of classes that we had to be doing. And yeah, the excitement of teaching different types of people and having different backgrounds, it makes me even more creative in terms of you can't do the same flow over and over again when you're teaching different groups of people that have different needs. I do realize when in my normal class I can check with my students that they require more than 5 minutes of centering just because maybe their mind is still hectic and maybe they still think about the last email they haven't sent yet. And the audience I have in the office, it's people I know, people I work on a daily basis. So that interaction is so much more personal and so much more, yeah, it's very personal when we teach in the office. And also to know that people do trust me to come and show on the mat and be vulnerable with their experiences is what really motivates me. Many of the friends that I had from the office became also yoga teachers and chose to use their abilities to become full-time yoga teachers, and they're teaching other places in Amsterdam. And every time we see each other, we always speak about, yeah, the friendly environment that we've created in the office throughout the years, because it took longer to build up a community that feels comfortable enough to branch out and do their own flows and teach their own audiences and just do really good work out there.
Okay. That's interesting that you've actually changed the environment of your workplace through yoga.
There was a moment where it's actually still going on that we don't have a room actually that we want to be using as a yoga studio. And many people would ask, oh, when are the yoga classes back? So right now we are offering a course that we can say, okay, at least on this and this date, we have a room, because it's getting so busy in the office that we don't have enough showrooms to be pushing chairs and tables and roll our mats in lunch break and just continue with our day immediately after. But we're definitely going to fix that in a sense that I'm hoping we'll soon get a proper room, and we'll schedule more classes, because there are many talented yoga teachers within the organization here in Adidas that can do a great job in keeping the momentum of yoga and explaining people how great you can feel in your body. We neglect how amazing yoga is for ourselves, and having that opportunity to just take a lunch break and have a yoga class is something that is just really good.
I can see that. I noticed that you say you do mentoring.
Yes.
How did you get into that particular area?
It's just like everything else that I come across in yoga is basically it's mostly given to you, or people start asking you, can you help me with finding a teacher training that suits me? Can you please help me with finding literature that actually inspired you, or anything to do with even setting up your music. I know when I was looking for mentors, or when I started with my yoga practice, it was so important to have someone that can guide you, that can tell you how to structure a class. The simple thing is what you mentioned. Even administration sometimes it takes so much time to set up your own business entity and all those things. And to me, it happened really, really organically, that people from my environment that are following my classes and felt inspired would ask me, can you please help me out with this? Can you come to my class and tell me what I can improve? And right now, what I'm excited about is that, yes, we can put programs in mentoring in young talents. It's just give them a really that nourishing environment where they can ask any question. There are no taboo questions. And even if there is something that I cannot help with, I will be honest with them and I'll be saying, I've never had that in my experience, but maybe I'll refer them to someone else. Right now, there are 5 really, really talented practitioners that I always say it, you start before you're ready. And I know they've been contemplating their teacher training for quite some time now, but you learn by doing. And some of my students, I kind of gently push to become teachers, if that's the right word. I basically will just announce they will start teaching soon, but you don't know yet. So that's how I gently push them till they one day really start teaching classes. So that's what we do normally.
Normally. Okay. So if someone wanted to be mentored by you, does it have to be in Amsterdam, or could they possibly contact you from other places?
So nowadays is super fun that we can. So right now I'm in Amsterdam, and I can speak to you, and we have so much technology going on. If we are honest about the opportunity to be mentoring someone, even if they are located in the other part of the world, there is a program that definitely it can be followed. So what I'm building up together with all my friends and all the teachers that I really admire and like is to put this program together for not more than 5 to 6 new young teachers, or also established teachers that would like to maybe learn something from me. Usually it happens that it's a very small group that we are here in Amsterdam, but it doesn't have to be this way. Meaning if you're traveling and you're based somewhere else, there is many ways to do it online. So if they contact me, I know on my website there is a link for contacting me. And if there is chemistry, and if the person finds that what I have to teach or what I have experienced is something that resonates with them, I'll be more than happy to serve as a mentor.
Okay, great. Well, I'll give all your contact details towards the end of the podcast, so that if people will know how to get a hold of you and see all the really interesting things that you're doing. You say that you give workshops. I also noticed that you do events, and you have one in Bali coming up.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a dream come true. Honestly, like I haven't even, I still cannot believe that it's happening. It's less than a month actually from now, and yeah, I'm doing it with my best friend Laura, who teaches in Sofia, back home in Bulgaria. I'm based here in Amsterdam, and so we've been wanting to go to Bali for so long, and now that it's happening, it's like a dream come true. It's beyond us that people find time and space to join us on a retreat without knowing even where. It's going to be our first time in Bali. We're super excited. We only have 2 spots left, and to be able just to put all your intention and manifesting things that you like to do is beyond me, that is coming true so easily and so effortlessly. So Bali is going to be great. Yeah, we can't wait.
Okay. Yes, I've been to Bali. It's quite lovely. It really is. So what will happen in this retreat? Was it just,
Of course, yeah.
Go ahead.
So right now, actually, Laura is living with me for a month, and we're putting together the amazing program that we have in mind for all the practitioners that will come with us, all the people that maybe possibly will just join us for a couple of classes. So a normal day will be starting with a meditation and a very easy, gentle flow. I usually teach in the afternoons, but for the Bali retreat, as I'll start doing the morning practice with the gentle straddle flow. Then we'll have a nice breakfast, and we'll be having either activity that is something in nature, because to be honest, most of the people that we live here in Amsterdam, we lack that connection with nature. And it's a fast way to reconnect, not just with the nature, but with yourself, knowing that we're all in this together, and the part of nature that is within us, it doesn't disappear just because you chose to be living in an urban environment. So often when we do hikes, or even any amount of time that you spend in nature, is very restorative. After that, we'll be having workshops on more yoga philosophy, so that we can go deeper into the practice. And inevitably, we'll have a nice dinner that we will be sharing stories, ideas, contemplating on experiences that we've gathered throughout the day. Usually the way we set up all those retreats is very open and friendly way. Mm-hmm. We really hold space for people to do what they want to be doing. So everything we offer is absolutely your choice if you want to join. If you prefer to read a book instead of having a headstand workshop, you can totally do that. If you're choosing to be skipping hip opener, another workshop, or you can actually chill by the pool. So everything we do is coming from a place that it's optional. You don't have to do it all if it doesn't feel right. So the programs also in the beginning, this is our 14th retreat. In the beginning, we would put so much in the program, and right now we really focus on less is more, and allow people to even have access to us and ask any questions if they want to. I know that some people will be on the verge of getting their yoga diplomas and asking more questions around that part of the, like getting ready for their final exam, for instance, while others will be for the first time doing yoga. So having that space for each need to be addressed is just amazing for us.
Excellent. Yeah, I certainly agree with your idea about less is more, because I've been to retreats where you're so regimented that it wasn't
it's the fear of missing out. I know that in the beginning we wanted to do more and more, but then you end up stressing your students by offering too many things. And if all they need is read a book by the pool, they surely should have that opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great attitude. I really like that. In fact, I'm going to a retreat, and we have one yoga class at the beginning of the day, and then you can do whatever you want for the rest of it. And I think that's why I'm going. That's great. We're getting closer to the end of the podcast. Is there anything you would like to add that we haven't talked about that you would like the listeners to know?
Well, to me, is most important is to get the point across that you don't have to change who you are, and you don't have to be doing anything differently just because you start practicing yoga. And I have this feeling that often we forget why the real intention of practicing comes from. So if every practitioner comes back to the true intention of why they started, or is this still serving you? And if something is not serving you, how can you modify it? Either be a posture or even a attitude. They're more than welcome to change, and they're more than welcome to do the things that just serve them better. That's what we always say in classes. And the other part, that knowing that yoga can be very, very informative practice and self-development, and sometimes you find things you don't quite like about yourself, and that's also okay. It's part of the process. But also having the opportunity to even know that, it's a big gift.
Okay. Well, thank you. For those of you that would like to get to contact Kremena for a multitude of reasons, her email is youryoga@abv.bg. Now, your yoga is YORYOGA, just so that you'll know how to spell it. And her website is the same, youryoga.eu. And her Instagram is Your Yoga, as well as her Facebook. So I want to really thank you, Kremena. It's been a wonderful podcast interview you've done. I love your philosophy and the way that you have just kind of let yoga, you just expanded and expanded and expanded and really have so many offerings for anybody that might like to either try or an experienced practitioner. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that wonderful interview. If you would like to be a guest on Changing the Face of Yoga, please go to my website, www.yogalightness.com.au, and under the Changing the Face of Yoga tab, you can complete Be Our Guest form. After reviewing the form and finding it applicable to this podcast, we will send you a link to schedule an interview. Please download, review, and tell your friends of any podcasts that are of interest to you and to them. If you would like to contact me, send an email to info@yogalightness.com.au. And thank you for listening to Changing the Face of Yoga.